All right. Yo, what is good? This is the 13th episode, man, of the SlashMMR podcast, and this also marks the 1 year anniversary of the podcast, man. It's already been a year, since I started. Um, yeah, May 2023. I uploaded the first episode on May 6th, so technically it's still like 2 more days until it's actually 1 year, but you know what I mean. Anyways, yeah, I mean, thank you for everyone that's watched the episodes or listens to whatever you do. Thank you for the support on the podcast, man, and I'm gonna keep going, of course, because I like doing it, and I think it's cool. We got a cool, series going here, and I'm gonna keep doing it. So, yeah, let's just get into some topics, man. Now, there's been a lot of developments on a topic that I discussed, for a period of time on the previous podcast episode. That is the Kendrick Lamar beef. All right. Now, Kendrick Lamar, of course, one of the most popular rappers of this current generation. He was also, performing in the Super Bowl halftime show like a couple years ago with Eminem and Snoop Dogg and stuff. I think that was the same show, or maybe it was a different year. I don't know. Anyways, very popular guy, and he started one of the biggest beefs that rap has ever seen. Maybe even the biggest. Talking numbers wise, because of course it's in the age of like streaming, right? So streaming, of course, it's a bit more like it's way bigger than whenever people will still like have to buy albums and stuff. Whatever. This is like literally like Nas and Jay-Z level type shit. So he started a beef with Drake and J.Cole basically, and he wasn't the only one. All right. Basically, Metro Boomin, one of the biggest producers right now. I should say the biggest producer right now for hip hop. He made a collaboration album with another rapper that's very big, Future, and on that with the song with Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar basically took shots at Drake and J. Cole, who Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Drake, are basically known as the big three, right? The big three for rap, the faces for the current generation. They all came up in the early 2010s, and they're like basically they're the big three. And Kendrick Lamar doesn't really like that narrative. Basically, what he said in that song, he was like, "Fuck the big three, it's just big me." He said he's trying to put himself on top of that and basically says that he's better than Drake and J. Cole and stuff. Now, that's pretty much where we left off on the last podcast episode. We just kind of discussed the Like That song, which featured that Kendrick Lamar verse. But then, J. Cole dropped a response as well. This was, I also had this in the former episode. J. Cole dropped a response. It was not that greatly received by the community. A lot of people thought it was like kind of like it was all right. It was a decent diss track, but it was not that good. He had some pretty weak angles. Like he was trying to say that Kendrick Lamar's music was like boring, and that his discography is not that impressive. When Kendrick Lamar literally has like one of the most impressive discographies in all of fucking rap, maybe even like all of music. Period. Like it's held in very high regard by both fans and critics. And J. Cole's is not. He has a lot of albums that most people don't really care about. And Kendrick Lamar does not really have that. Okay, so it was a weak angle to go at his discography because J. Cole literally does not match up to Kendrick's discography at all. That was pretty much the main deal of like the whole diss track. But that's where we left off on last episode, right? Now J. Cole, literally like the day that I dropped that podcast, or like the day after that, he backtracked. Okay, he literally apologized for the diss track. He was like, it doesn't sit right with me. He's not really about the beef, which is really like, which was pretty weak. Okay, and he got a lot of backlash for it. Because for years now, J. Cole has been doing all this tough guy talk, right? Like, oh, I'm the greatest rapper, and if somebody wants to start something with me, I'm gonna fucking kill them. All that tough talk that rappers do, right? And then he finally gets put into a situation like this, and he gets checked, like, yo, can you really, how do you handle this? And then he does that diss track that wasn't really perceived all that well, and then he just apologizes. So a lot of those, lyrics of him like talking about how he's like the greatest and stuff, they don't really hold up well. So yeah, once again, a lot of backlash for that. He was kind of getting clowned on. I don't really care that much, but I do think it's weak, But now it's been about a month since then, and a lot has happened on the Kendrick Lamar and Drake front, right? Because Drake is he like of the big three, he's like the biggest number wise, right? He does the most numbers. He's the most popular. He's also more like the more pop oriented. So he's the more famous out of all of them, basically. And Drake does really care about this beef. Like he's not like J.Cole. He doesn't apologize. They've been going at it. But once again, as I said previously, Kendrick Lamar is not the only one that has a problem with Drake. All right. Because there's basically right now a bunch of different musicians, mostly rappers, but also The Weeknd even that have all teamed up together to diss Drake. As I said, Future and Metro Boomin made that collaboration album, which featured this diss track from Kendrick Lamar. That was the first one, and then a couple weeks after that, they dropped another album, Future and Metro Boomin, which also featured not Kendrick Lamar, but it featured The Weeknd. It also featured A$AP Rocky, and there was another one, but I forgot the name right now. But basically, a lot of more people that came on to diss Drake. And Drake pretty much he had like everyone on him, man. He had like everyone on him. So he had a lot of people to respond to. Of course, Kendrick Lamar being the biggest one. But yeah. So basically, what happened was Drake finally responded. Well, he didn't directly respond because actually his track got leaked, all right? So he was working on this track. I assume that wasn't really finished yet because it dropped. It got leaked on Twitter like the day after the second album dropped of Future and Metro Boomin, and it got leaked. And it was funny because on one of the songs on the album, even The Weeknd said he was dissing Drake, and he said that Drake has leaks in his operation, right? So, and that's funny because literally the day after that, the diss track got leaked. So, I mean, hey, I don't know. Maybe they definitely have some sort of like information. So yeah, basically the diss track he covered like most of the things, but I don't think it was supposed to drop, right? Because once again, they dropped that second album, right? And it leaked the day after that. So I think that Drake didn't want it to release yet. I think he wanted to actually like hold on to it a little longer and release it later because on that album, as I said, A$AP Rocky dissed him as well. But A$AP Rocky was not mentioned at all in that response diss track. So I think that Drake was like gonna work on it more and like add like another more disses to other people as well. But it got leaked before he could even do that. So he basically went in on Kendrick Lamar. He went in on Rick Ross as well, who's also involved in the beef. It was not it was a good response, right? It was a good response, but it was not that extreme, this wise. At least not compared to what we know now, right? Like I'll get into it later, but like so much happened, like literally in the last 24 hours. Anyways, his main angle in this diss track was basically making fun of Kendrick Lamar for having like a bad record label deal, and basically saying that everything that he dropped like music wise, that his label took like 50% of it all, like for the income, which that's quite a bit, 50%, like damn, you really don't. You're not left with that much after that. I mean, he's a multi-millionaire for sure, but still, 50%. That's a big like portion of the fucking revenue from literally all his fucking songs. So that was basically the main angle for that diss track. Basically, saying he's like a clown for that shit, and he also called him short like a couple different ways because Kendrick Lamar is quite a tiny guy. So he said, "How are you big stepping with the size 7 men's on?" And also Kendrick Lamar in the first song, he said like that he was gonna snatch people's chains off, and he's like, "Bro, you can't even do that because you're too fucking small." So yeah, that was basically the Drake response, right? And he dissed Rick Ross too. He was like, "What's Rick Ross is pushing 50? Why is he even getting involved?" He had some lines for Future as well. But yeah, after this, it was pretty much like mainly like about Drake and Kendrick Lamar, right? At this point, so a lot of people took shots at Drake. The Weeknd even. He also mentioned The Weeknd in this response for a couple lines. But now the main show is of course Kendrick Lamar and Drake. All right. Now Drake also said like, "Man, it's a 20v1. Like, why's everyone going at me?" Clearly, people have issues with him. All right. Like, everyone is like against Drake. The whole industry. Basically, and now he's like, man, it's a 20v1. He has to like address like 5 different people in one song while they're all attacking him. It's kind of wild, but yeah, Push Ups was the name of the song that Drake dropped in response. It was pretty good, but then he dropped another one, which I don't really think this was a cool move, at least in my opinion. He made another song. which is called Taylor Made Freestyle. And this was like about a week after the diss track, the first diss track from Drake, originally leaked online. And he just went in with, on Kendrick again after this, on this diss track, and he did something pretty controversial. He used AI, right? He used the AI voice of Tupac and Snoop Dogg, because those are actually like two of like Kendrick Lamar's biggest idols, right? And basically, I'm gonna read some lines of like the AI verse. So this is like in a Tupac voice, right? He used Tupac AI to make this verse. He said, "Kendrick, we need you, the West Coast savior, engraving your name in some hip hop history." So he was just like having Tupac like encourage him, like to like make a fucking response, right? And just like, I don't know, it was weird. I don't really like how he would use that, because I mean Tupac is a dead man, okay? Like I find it kind of disrespectful that he's gonna use AI to somehow attack Kendrick with that. It was weak, all right. I think this was very unnecessary. So that's just my opinion, though. I think a lot of people saw it as like, kind of trolling and stuff, but I didn't think it was that cool. And you even got like AI Snoop Dogg too, like, nephew, what the fuck are you really about to do? Just to like having Snoop Dogg and Tupac in AI talk to Kendrick. I thought this was weak, and he even got like a cease and desist. Like he basically had to like take the shit down at some point because the Tupac estate like sued him, which is a fucking W. Like I don't really condone this shit. Like I found it very weak. Of course, I mean Tupac, legend. Even Snoop Dogg's voice as well. I mean he's alive, so it's like kind of different, but it's still weird. I found it a very weird move. So then, after Drake put all that pressure on Kendrick Lamar to finally like drop a response, right? Everyone was waiting for him. He finally dropped a song called Euphoria on April 30th. So it's quite a couple days ago, but like a lot has happened since then, all right? And once again, this is huge, right? I mean, this already has 6.3 million views on like Genius, which is like a lyric site, and also it also went #1 on Billboard, and there's like 20 million streams already. So it's going crazy, and he took a lot of shots at Drake here. It's also like 6 minutes long, so he finally dropped a response. And basically the main angle here was also like Drake. Basically, Drake's kind of a suspicious guy, right? I mean, he has had a history of talking to girls that are a bit younger than him, and some not even legal. And Euphoria, of course, is also that show about like teenagers, right? And there's a lot of like sex scenes in there with teenagers, and it's kind of a weird show, and Drake apparently is like the executive producer of that show. I didn't even know that, but apparently he like worked on that show for some reason. I don't. It's kind of weird. I didn't even know that, but they basically also like a jab at him. So yeah, I mean, I don't fuck. That was kind of weird, but yeah, he basically he talked about Drake being like a huge manipulator and a liar, and that he's making up stories about Kendrick's family and stuff, which was crazy foreshadowing, knowing what we're gonna get next. But yeah, so he just keeps one of the main angles also is like Drake being like biracial. A lot of like, I don't really care that much about that per se, but like he also says I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. He basically also, this is something that Rick Ross says as well, because actually Rick Ross also dropped a response diss track to Drake. Drake dropped Push-Ups, right, and like literally like a couple hours later, and Rick Ross dropped his response, Champagne Moments, and he also on that was the main angle of that song as well, was like him being like biracial. He kept calling him like white boy because he's like light skin, and basically the whole angle is also like that he's trying to like act tough, and well, he's not really about that life, and that also one of these lines are like, how many more black features do you need till you finally feel that you're black enough? That basically just that Drake, he wants to be black, but he's not. He's not part. He hasn't like grown up like that, and not really part of the culture like that. That's one big angle that they keep taking. And also, like Kendrick Lamar, especially in the end here, also like that they don't want to hear Drake say the N-word anymore, because that's a word that's supposed to be like reserved for black people only, and Drake uses it in his music as well, because he is partially black, so he's technically allowed to say it. But Kendrick Lamar doesn't really like that. He says it's cringe when he says it. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to dissect in this diss track. Of course, it's a lot of lines. I'm just going over the basic shit, right? Also, one thing that's a very common thing as well that also Rick Ross said in his diss track is like, apparently Drake had like some sort of ab surgery. So he like got fake abs and stuff, and now apparently his like stomach is all fucked up or some shit. And now he's like wearing weird clothes, because of that. I don't really know what happened there in specific, but I thought it was funny. um, Anyways, yeah. So, and also one big thing about this is family, right? Because for those that don't know the lore, basically in 2018, all right, Drake had gone through a very big feud as well, also a rap beef with Pusha T, and that ended tragically for Drake. All right, Drake definitely lost that battle. He took a fat L because Pusha T absolutely killed him with a freestyle. I mean, not freestyle. I mean, just a fucking diss track. It was called the story of Adidon. And basically, what he exposed on this song is basically that Drake was literally hiding his son. He was literally like, he was just he had a child and he was not telling anyone about it. He was just kept it, under the rug. But yeah, he totally got exposed for that shit, and it's kind of been a meme ever since then that Pusha T kind of bullied him into being a father, because ever since then, he's made it public and he's actually like posted up with his son on like Instagram stuff. And actually even like includes him in like his music videos and stuff now. So before that, it was complete radio silence. Like no one knew about his son. But then Pusha T exposed that, and he basically wanted beef with that. Like Drake did not respond to that at all. He took that L, and I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's also a big theme on here. Him being a deadbeat father. Not being a good person. But yeah, that was Kendrick Lamar's response, man. Now, before Drake could even respond again, right now this is where it comes really recent. All right, literally yesterday morning. Kendrick Lamar dropped another song, Friday morning yesterday. It was called 616 in LA, this title has had like 25 different meanings, right? It's like become a whole meme because 616, what does that mean? Well, once again, as I just said, the family thing is a huge like deal in this like whole situation. Now 616, of course, in American dates, and of course in Europe it's different. Like there's no 16th month. That's how we see it. Like, the first we have the I don't know what we have. First we have the fucking month, I think, and no, first we have the day, then the month, and sometimes it's like switched. I don't know, but anyways, in like American dates, this is June 16, yeah, June 16, a lot of different meanings. Right now, first of all, June 16 is actually Tupac's birthday, and it's also Canadians' Father's Day, which Drake is from Canada. And also, it's the day that Euphoria, the show that I mentioned earlier, premiered. And also like something about O.J. Simpson, like the O.J. Simpson's wife got buried that day, and also like the O.J. Simpson trial started that day, and also because the cover art here is like a glove, right? So the cover art for the song is like a glove. So like of course they kind of reversed O.J. I guess as well. So I don't know. People found a lot of different meanings for 616. So that was also kind of funny. Like this is like the first like this title has like 20 meanings all by itself. But it's a bit of a shorter song though. Kendrick Lamar, he kind of went in again. It's just one verse. It's still long. It's still like 3.5 minutes or something. But yeah, he just he kind of presses Drake, right? He kind of like he's like pushing him for a response. And the main angle in this diss track is basically him saying like, bro, I know everything that you're doing, all right? Like, I have people in your camp that are giving me information, which is also something that The Weeknd said, that Drake is leaks in this operation. This is like, just like some lines here. Have you ever thought that OVO is working for me? I hate bullies. You must be a terrible person. Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it. So he's basically saying that, people in his team, he said 100 people that you got on salary and 20 of them want you as a casualty, and one of them is actually next to you, and 2 of them is practically tired of your lifestyle. Just don't get the audacity to tell you. So he's basically saying that everyone in Drake's team, his OVO is basically his own label, doesn't even really like him, and basically that he's giving them information that what Drake is actually doing and stuff, which would make sense once again because of the leaks and the diss track that leaked previously. Now, of course, once again, this just dropped yesterday morning, right? Now, this morning for me, for Americans, it was late night. I was up at like 5 a.m. basically. This is like fucking 15 hours ago. And Drake dropped a response, right? Drake dropped a response to this whole diss track, these 2 diss tracks from Kendrick Lamar, yeah, it dropped like once again like Friday night, I guess, then for the Americans, but for me it was already like early morning, very late night, Saturday. So Yeah, he goes in, all right. He goes in. This is like 6.5 minutes, and he also goes in on Rick Ross once again, kind of responds to the Rick Ross diss track. Also talking about the Weeknd's lines. Also talking about A$AP Rocky. Finally, A$AP Rocky gets a mention, which I thought like if he wanted to mention A$AP Rocky, he would have already done it in the first one. But once again, I think that got leaked, without him actually wanting it to leak. So it got leaked before he could even really address those things. I think he wanted to make it like longer, but I don't know. He did finally address like some of other people too, though. But once again, the main takeaway is of course the Kendrick Lamar disses, right? Now Kendrick Lamar, he kind of went in here. Apparently, he said that one of Kendrick Lamar's sons is actually from another man. Like of course Kendrick Lamar has like been like engaged to like this one woman for quite a while, and they have 2 children together. But he's apparently saying that one of the sons is not his. One of the kids, is not Kendrick's. So that's kind of a wild claim, right? I don't know how true that is, because once again, a lot of people saying this, like Kendrick Lamar predicted on the other diss track, like that Drake is a liar. He's gonna fabricate stories about the family. Is literally the exact line that Kendrick said. So a lot of people don't really know how to take this exactly, but it is a wild claim though. And he's also saying that like Kendrick Lamar and his wife Whitney, they've been engaged for 8 years. I don't know exactly how long, but apparently they're not married yet. But they've been engaged since like 2015 or something. So he's also kind of talking about that, how like their love is like not really real or some shit. And then that was basically the biggest like wildest thing. Basically like the son stuff. But also at one point he does say stuff that's not really true. So that was my bad for that sound. Anyways, he says, "You just acting like an activist. It's make believe. Don't even go back to your hood and plant no money trees." He's basically saying that Kendrick Lamar does nothing for his hood, right? For where he came from, where he grew up at. Planting no money trees there. And the annotation here, it reads, Drake references the famous Kendrick track Money Trees, while also stating that Kendrick has never actually given out any type of financial support to Compton, a place that has been integral to his life and discography themes. Despite this, Kendrick has personally donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to support sports programs, after-school programs, and music programs in the Compton Unified School District to help keep Compton students off the streets and in the classroom. And not to mention being given the key to the city by the mayor of Compton in 2016. So basically, that's also one thing. He said that Kendrick Lamar doesn't really do anything for Compton, but it's literally not true. He's donated hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's kind of a weak angle there. So, and the other most important thing to take away from this is, in the end, he said they hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. He's basically saying Kendrick Lamar is a wife beater. Or, well, not wife, because they never got married, I guess, but fiance beater. Once again, we don't know how true that is. But that is a wild claim to make, though. But anyways, this response was crazy. A lot of people were gassing this off, right? So this was absolutely crazy last night. People were like, "Whoa, okay, this is once again 7.5 minutes. This was an insane response." But it gets crazier. Okay, it gets crazier because literally, like about 20 minutes after this, Kendrick Lamar dropped another diss track that completely blows everything out of the water, right? And once again, I was about to go to sleep. It was like 5 a.m., 5:30. I was about to go to sleep, and then it just suddenly this happened, and I was just up to like 8 a.m. literally. Anyways, Kendrick Lamar suddenly dropped a diss track. It's called "Meet the Grahams," which is like Drake's middle name, Graham, I'm pretty sure. And it tackles family themes, all right. So it's basically, it also ties back into Kendrick Lamar having inside information, right? It's basically someone snitching inside of Drake's camp, telling Kendrick, what exactly he's about to do. Because literally, he's saying like, "Why are you talking? You messed up when you spoke on my family." So either he predicted this and had the track ready, or someone literally told him like exactly what this track was going to be about, and Kendrick Lamar literally had the response ready in like 20 minutes. So basically, Drake's diss track got completely overshadowed by this stuff. Everyone's talking about this now, and it is an absolute bomb. Okay, it is an absolute bomb. It is tough. He instantly starts off the verse 1 by talking to Drake's son. He's basically saying, he literally said, "Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father." That's literally the first line. And he just completely tears Drake down. And this is an insane diss track. There's people have called this the best diss track of all time, all right? And once again, this is a huge beef. This is absolutely insane. So, basically he just completely, he basically just called Drake a bad person. He even then in the second verse he talks about, he talks directly to Drake's mother. He says, "Dear Sandra, your son got some habits. I hope you don't undermine them." He's saying that Drake is an alcoholic. He's a pill popper. He's a gambling addict. Also addicted to like prostitutes and stuff. And even like once again, he also plays into the predator stuff, like him like doing weird stuff with underage girls. He's done. Drake has a lot of accusations of that, right? There's a lot of videos out there of him doing weird stuff. So he's basically he's a creeper, right? This has been known, but like for Kendrick Lamar to like really expose that and lay it out to the world is great. But yeah, Drake has been on some weird stuff, and basically he's even saying like he's even telling LeBron James and Steph Curry, keep the family away from Drake, right? He's literally telling people, other celebrities, to keep their kids away from Drake because he's a fucking freak. And now this is where the verse 3, all right, this is where it gets crazy, all right? This is where it gets insane because also he said apparently OVO, once again Drake's team OVO, apparently he has sex offenders on that team. That's crazy. But yeah, verse 3 is where it gets crazy because once again I talked about, in 2018 Pusha T exposed Drake for hiring a kid, right? Now a lot of people basically this diss track set like unrealistic standards for a diss song, because now every time someone makes a diss here in this whole feud, it's been like, oh well, he's not really exposing anything crazy, right? And people always keep referring back to Pusha T. How Pusha T actually pretty much murdered Drake with that song because Drake didn't even respond to that anymore. He won that. Pusha T won that battle instantly with that. So now people have just been saying like, man, like Kendrick Lamar, he's not really revealing anything crazy yet. He needs to like get on like Pusha stuff, which is like, of course, very hard to do, right? Because such information like that is not always like, very available. But there was like a very rare case of like Pusha T just actually like having like an absolute nuke of like information that could completely destroy Drake. Anyways, Kendrick Lamar did the unthinkable. And on this third verse, he's claiming that Drake is literally hiding another child. Okay, he starts off with saying, "Dear baby girl, I'm sorry that your father is not active inside your world." So he's saying that Drake is hiding not only a son, from 2018 that we now all know, Adonis. He's also hiding a daughter that we don't know, right? Apparently he's hiding a daughter too. Once again, I cannot confirm or deny any of this, but that is insane, all right? If he's actually hiding another child, and apparently she is over 11 years old, which is also something he claims in his verse, and he basically calls Drake like a deadbeat, and he's also alluding to, he's even like, in the end, he's also like, teasing that there's even more children he's hiding. Like, I don't know, man. It is basically this is like Pusha T 2.0, right? He's killing Drake with this completely, and that is insane. Like, if he's actually hiding another fucking child, that is like, that is like absolutely fucking insane, bro. I can't even like fucking like that, bro. That basically Kendrick Lamar, if that's true, he wins the battle, right? But a lot of people are talking about, all right, both of them have made some crazy claims, right? Once again, if Kendrick Lamar actually beat his wife, that's pretty bad. Also, if his child is actually not his, if that what Drake said about that is true, that's also pretty wild. But yeah, basically, what people are asking for right now is the receipts, man. Like, basically, come with the proof, right? We need to actually fact check these things because these are just some insane things. These are actually some insane things. But yeah, this Kendrick Lamar diss track completely overshadows Drake's one from earlier this morning. It's absolutely crazy, all right? So yeah, that's pretty much where we are right now with the beef. Also, Drake has also responded to this already, but not like with a song, but like he posted something on his Instagram story, and he basically said like, "What? I have a daughter? No way." He was basically denying that he's hiding a daughter, right? But also people didn't really take this too nicely because Kendrick Lamar says a lot of things about her. He's calling him a pedophile. He's calling him all sorts of random stuff that are pretty fucking bad. It's really about the OVO sex offenders that he literally has on his team. But like all that Drake responds about is like the child, which arguably is not even the worst thing that's being said here. So yeah, that was also kind of a weak response from Drake. But we have to see what goes on, what happens now, man. I'll definitely be talking about this on the next episode of the podcast too, because it's going crazy. It's reaching like, pretty crazy levels, to say the least. And I'm here for it, man. I love hip hop. It's probably my favorite music genre, and this is like huge. Or this is actually like huge, and people have been talking about this all month. It's been huge news. Once again, this is like Nas and Jay-Z level, right? This is like absolutely huge beef. Even like Tupac and Biggie, did, although Biggie never made like a, oh, he did make Who Shot Ya. They did have kind of a back and forth with disses, I guess, but it's literally like on the same level. It's absolutely massive, and it's huge for the culture, I guess. But yeah, that's about where we leave that off. A big portion of the podcast here, but it's a huge topic, man. Also, yeah, Kanye West, I forgot to mention this. He also hopped in on the beef, although Drake did not mention him in the response to diss track that he dropped, yesterday or earlier this morning, I should say. He did not mention Kanye, but also Kanye went in on Drake as well. He dropped a remix of the Like That song. He didn't drop it. He did actually. He dropped it on YouTube. He also dissed Drake in that, which was it was like a pretty irrelevant part of the beef, but Kanye just wanted to hop in as well and like do whatever, I guess. And he also dissed j.cole in that too, so it was kind of funny, but yeah, basically nowadays people are like praising j.cole, like, oh, I understand j.cole, I understand why he hopped out the beef, he apologized for the diss track, right? He knew what was about to happen. I still think like people are saying now he made the right decision doing that apology. I think the right decision would be like to not have made a diss track at all to begin with. I think that him making the diss track and then deleting it off streaming platforms and then apologizing for it, I think it was pretty weak still, but I guess it was probably a better move than continuing forward with this, because they would have been crazy. But anyways, man, that was about it for that huge fucking topic, but it is what it is, man. It was huge. It is huge. So that's all I could really say about that. Next up, I want to talk about the TikTok ban, right? Because originally I just wanted to talk a bit about TikTok being banned in what's it called in America. Something got signed there earlier this month. Actually, pretty much like last week, I think. Let me actually pull it up real quick. Yeah, United States. So in March 2024, oh, that's actually quite a while ago already. But I think Biden only like signed it recently. Oh yeah. In March 2024, the United States House of Representatives passed HR 7521, which would effectively ban TikTok unless it is divested from ByteDance within 180 days of the bill becoming a law, with the U.S. President Joe Biden agreeing to sign if the bill passed the U.S. Senate. In April, the House of Representatives passed the bill to include a modified version of the bill in a foreign aid package. The divestiture, I don't even know what that means, period was increased to 270 days with the option to extend it to further 90 days. This bill was then passed by the United States Senate the following week and then signed into law by President Joe Biden on April 24, 2024. Right, so this happened like a week ago, which basically means TikTok is getting banned in the United States. Of course, one of the biggest countries in the world. Probably most of TikTok's users are in there. I mean, if we're talking like country-wise, I don't know. It's a big country, man. A lot of children are using TikTok there, and TikTok has been a huge issue for like talking about privacy and also like ruining the children, attention span, all this sort of stuff. Basically, the old folks are not too big of a fan of that sort of TikTok, especially like the government in the U.S. Not only the U.S., like everywhere, because of the privacy, right? It's owned by China. They think that they're controlling us with it. Anyways, it's pretty big. Like they're literally saying that if TikTok doesn't get sold to the American company or whatever it is, they're gonna ban it, right? People are not gonna be allowed to use it anymore. And yeah, that is wild. It's the biggest platform in the world right now. I think it is. I don't know. Maybe YouTube is still bigger, but basically one of the biggest platforms in the world. All the youth uses it. Just to get fucking banned like that, I mean, it is kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy. And I looked this up, right? I was trying to get an article on this, and I actually found a Wikipedia page, which is called "The Censorship of TikTok," and this lists all the countries in the world that have pretty much bans on TikTok. We even have a map here. I mean, you can't see it, but you can look it up. Censorship of TikTok, Wikipedia. We even have a world map where we have literally just different colors. Like the blue means TikTok banned on national government devices, which a lot of countries have. Quite a bit of countries have that. We also have TikTok unavailable. Doujin used instead. I don't know what Doujin is. I guess some sort of alternative. We also have the red here TikTok currently banned for all users, which I can see a couple countries having that, but I don't really know which one they are. There's like next to China one. China is the orange one, I think. TikTok unavailable. Anyways, there's a whole list here. We have it even goes per fucking I don't know whatever the fucking color. I forgot how you call those things, like Europe and Africa. On the continent, fucking continent. It goes by continent. We have Africa here, and then we have Senegal. In August 2023, Senegal blocked TikTok following the arrest of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. Damn. I don't know what his arrest has to do with TikTok getting banned, but okay. We have Somalia, Kenya, and all the countries have different reasons and all different guidelines. We even have Afghanistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan. We're in the Asia section now. Bangladesh also has, and Bangladesh has a whole fucking story here. China, also India. And yeah, 2 different bans. Apparently, it got banned in 2019 and then in 2020 as well. Indonesia, Iran, Jordan, Kyrgyzstan, whatever that is, Nepal, Pakistan, Taiwan, Vietnam, and then we also have Uzbekistan and also Europe. Even the Netherlands here, which it's not banned in my country, but they list every sort of ban here on this list. So it is banned for government figures, right? So that's why we are on this list as well. France, Ireland, Estonia, Denmark. It just goes on and on. Yeah, the USA is like the biggest one right now because, of course, it's like it has like the most amount of users, I guess. And yeah, it's getting banned, and it is kind of wild. I don't really know exactly how deep all that sort of stuff goes with like the privacy and stuff. Like I don't really know. I know TikTok collects a lot of data that they don't really need to collect. I have it on my phone. I don't really care that much. I don't really use it though. I could delete it. I used to only like upload like content on it. I've never literally never have I ever used it like for actual like personal use. I only uploaded videos myself, but I kind of stopped doing that since like September. It's been quite a while. I should probably get into it though. It's kind of fun. I have like a couple 100 followers on there. Anyways, bro, that TikTok ban, pretty wild. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. Let me know what y'all think. I don't know, man. It will be interesting though. If this does happen, maybe more countries will follow. Maybe the downfall of TikTok will finally happen. I don't know. It is interesting for sure. Anyways, next topic, man. I want to talk a bit about college, right? Because my college is about to come to an end. I'm sure I spoke about this last month. I think about the internship coming to an end. Yeah, basically, I'm entering like my last month and a half of like college. I'm about to like have like exams, man. And it's not looking good, man. Well, it'll be fine, but I just need to like do a lot of work. Pretty much what I did in like the last month, was like test like exams, like not actual exams, like test exams. So they're basically like practice exams. So yeah, we just practiced. This it's like pretty much like it's sort of like a replica of like what the actual exam would be. Now I don't know what you're imagining when I say exams though, because like I don't need to like study math or science or like other bullshit. Like I'm doing like some sort of like college bullshit. So what I have to do for my college stuff is like basically we need to like make like we'll get an assignment from like an actual like company and stuff, and we just need to like make whatever they want. Like I'm like a graphic designer, right? So maybe they want a new website, or maybe they want like some sort of new logo and shit. So basically we just design like a whole fucking whatever the fuck they want, pretty much. That's basically our assignment for like our exam. It's not that complicated, but we need to do a lot of like documentation on it. It's kind of shitty. There's like a lot of like sketches, and like you need to like make like 3 different sketches for like each logo, and like if you make a website, you need to like all come together as a group. It's a fucking group project, and you need to like all come together and like make different sketches and everything. And like the fucking most annoying part is like the documentation, because you need to like also write about it. You need to like make a whole story about like, oh, we made this choice and why we made that choice, because this color matches what the company wants, like all sorts of fucking bullshit, man. It's a fucking drag, man. I'm not even good at writing about that. All right, I just do stuff for no reason. All right, if I make something blue, I'm just make it blue because it's fucking, I don't know, because it fucking looks good. I don't really think about it like that, like, oh, it's because it's a fucking beach fucking company, and like this fucking color of the fucking ocean and shit. Like you need to like we'll make it like a whole paragraph about that. It's fucking bullshit. I don't really like it that much. And the once again, so as I said, we did like an exam for like testing, right? We had like a practice exam, and mine were pretty bad, mostly because I had like a very bad group. Basically, my group was like never there. I was pretty much like the only one there with like another person, and sometimes the others would join. But like there was only one time that my group was there all together, and it was the last day, so it was a mess. All right, and we did not really do much. I mean, I finished my project, but like the documentation, I did not really do anything about that. I'd made it like very minimal, and I would definitely have filled if it was like the actual one. But yeah, it was a boring as assignment. It was fucking lame. But hey, I will hopefully pass the actual one. Because I'll try a little bit. I'll try a little bit and then see what I can do. um, but yeah, that's currently my situation with college, man. I'm gonna be graduating soon though. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan, and then I'm gonna be done forever, man, with school. It's gonna be wild. But yeah, that's my current situation, man. I finished the internship once again. I still gotta like hand in a couple things about that as well, but I'll do that like next week. But yeah, it's finally come to an end. All of it. Fucking like, I mean, I started school when I was like 4, or like, and I was like, not even. It's like after kindergarten. Or kindergarten doesn't really count. Like the first like a class that we have in the Netherlands is like 4 years old. So man, it's been a while. Like I'm 17 now. Like fucking, is that 13 years of fucking school? Ain't no way. Anyways, just want to talk about that real quick. Just my college stuff. I know where I am with that sort of shit. Anyways. Also, what I've been watching recently, man, I want to talk about this show real quick called Shōgun. Man, that shit was crazy. I don't know if you guys seen it yet or not, but it's pretty popular right now, man. People are saying it's like the new Game of Thrones, basically, which, is kind of a wild statement. But, I mean, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, so I wouldn't really know, but I know Game of Thrones is held in very high regard, and a lot of people see Shōgun in the same light. So, it's basically this wild-ass show about, like, some sort of, like, this random-ass, like, fisherman. Not fisherman, but he's like a sailor, right? Not I don't know if he's specifically a sailor, but like he's fucking like he's living on a ship basically, sailing around the fucking world, like doing trading and stuff. And it's like it's in like the 1600s, like the early 1600s or like late 1500s, around that. And yeah, so basically this guy could like he tries to like go to Japan because like at that point the Portuguese are all in Japan, right? The Portuguese have complete control over that shit, and there's like they kept it like a secret, so the rest of the world didn't really know like their routing and stuff. Because of course back then you didn't really have Google Maps and shit, so they didn't really know exactly where Japan was, but the Portuguese did. So basically they just held that whole thing, they kept it on lock and basically didn't really want anyone else there. But then he was like the first Englishman to discover that shit, apparently. Yeah, so then he comes there, and it's a really cool show, all about like, basically this English fella, of course from a very different culture, than whatever the Japanese were doing back then. And I gotta say, man, it was a wild show, right? It was pretty graphic at some points too. I don't really want to get into spoilers too much, but it was really good. And basically, I mean, you definitely learn a lot about the culture there, though. I mean, of course, it does go. It is about like samurais and like shoguns as well. And it really dives pretty deep into that stuff, and all about like different like I don't know, I wouldn't call them tribes, but like different groups of like, I don't know, they're called clans. They're literally like clans, right? And there's also the ninjas, and it's basically all about like, the one like the big guy, like I don't know if it was a shogun or not, but like the big leader of Japan basically died, and like the country got like divided into like 4 different pieces. And of course there were 4 different rulers, and basically the man that died before that ruled Japan, he had like a son, but he was like the son was too young to rule the country, so it was like divided between like four people at that time. And yeah, of course people are greedier, right? So ruling with 4 together, was not really something that everyone wanted per se. There was, one guy in specific who, kind of wanted to take over and just rule by himself. He could be like the biggest leader. And, it's basically this whole fight, this whole fucking show. And there's like that one Englishman, he plays a pretty big role in that eventually. That become pretty important. It's a really good story, but I didn't really like the ending that much, especially because apparently there's not going to be a season 2, which is like something we were like, my whole family was like, what? No season 2? How? There was literally like, there was like very much like the whole story was still about like Star, bro. It was like the whole first season was like crazy as build up, and then like there's nothing happens because there's no season 2. Like what? So I found that pretty confusing. Although the ending was still pretty decent though, because we do actually get some information on certain stuff. But I do hope to see it continue because it's not 100% ruled out. They just said like there's like no plan for it because it's based off like a book, right? And and the book basically ends there as well. Which I don't know why. Like what the fuck? Why didn't the writer just continue? I guess in a book it's different. I don't know, but on show it didn't really seem that. Yeah, I wish it continued, man. I wish we could see more. But yeah, they basically said that there's no plan for it right now, but it might still happen though. So I'll have to see. Another show I was watching recently is three body problem. A crazy ass show, man. I don't know what to call it. It's like I don't know if it's like considered like sci-fi. I don't even know what that means really, to be honest. But it's basically about like aliens and shit. About like a higher fucking power. It was also a very crazy show, man. Which hopefully I think that one will get a second season. I mean, it will make no sense if it didn't. But it was also a bit of comedy in there too, for sure. Also recommended. It was quite fun. A very cool concept too. But yeah, I mean that's really all I had to say about that. It's just some stuff I've been watching recently. Last thing I want to talk about really, we're coming kind of to an end here. I still got a couple things. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I want to talk about this real quick. We got Haaland, or I don't even know how you pronounce the name. Haaland? I don't know, man. I don't know what people say. I'm gonna say Haaland. He basically the football player, right? You all know him. He is getting a Clash of Clans character. All right, Clash of Clans is collaborating with the footballer Haaland. I don't know why. I don't know how this came about. I don't know if Haaland has like been like a long time fan. I think I think he has been. I think I saw something about that. He was like, "Yeah, man, I've been playing this game for like 12 years." Anyways, he's literally getting a skin, all right? So, but in Clash of Clans, the barbarian kings, like you unlock that at a certain point. It's called a hero, and it's like like Tunnel like 7 or something. You get your first hero, and it's like the barbarian king. And like over recent years, they added like skins for that, so you could like make different skins for it, and they have it look different. And now apparently you can turn your barbarian king into a Haaland. I don't really know exactly. It might be like in the season pass. I don't know exactly how you unlock it, or maybe it's like purchasable through like the shop. But it's completely blew up, man. It's gonna become a big meme, and I think it's kind of funny though because I'm a big Clash of Clans fan. Right, not that I've been playing it actively at all. I've actually haven't played it in a couple of years, but I'd love to see the new generation. Of course, all those Highland fans, all like mostly younger kids. I'd love to see them connect with Clash of Clans and have Clash of Clans like have sort of like a rise again because of course it's kind of been on a downfall for like forever. Like for the last 10 years, it's kind of like slowly dropped off in relevancy. But I think it's awesome that that this collab somehow came about. I just think it's super funny and also quite random, to be honest. So I just want to mention that real quick because it even had like insane advertisement, bro. Like seriously, we had like Haaland like chilling, and then suddenly there was like a portal, and then Clash of Clans troops were coming in that portal, and then like in his house, and, like dragging him into like the fucking Clash of Clans world. It was really funny. It was so fucking funny. So yeah, I like that. Also, last thing I want to talk about here real quick. Man, World War III, man. Yo, what's going on there? So basically, I was just chilling on Twitter one day, or X, I should say. And the last thing you want to see trending on X is World War III, right? Suddenly there was like hella tweets about that shit. I'm not too educated on this topic, but yeah, basically, fucking Iran suddenly was like, yo, we're gonna launch a bunch of fucking missiles and drones to fucking Israel, man. I don't know. I don't want to get controversial here because it's quite a controversial topic for some people. The whole Israel-Palestine conflict. I'm not really gonna choose sides or anything, but of course it's a complete mess and it should just stop. War is never really good. But yeah, suddenly Iran's getting involved. I don't really know exactly the whole lore behind that. Although it's been a bit like on the low right now. Like it was a big thing when it happened, and Israel was like, I don't know if Israel wanted to attack back, but like I remember like basically America being like, "Yo, man, you probably like should not do that." I think that America said like they would not support Israel if they would not support an attack if Israel did do that. They would not like back them up or something. If Israel did eventually like fight back to Iran, it would have been crazy. But Iran said they weren't going to do anything more, though. I don't remember why exactly they did this, but there was a reason for it. Apparently, like Israel did something to them, and then like they attacked with like missiles and like. Well, it's. I thought it was only drones, but like this side's saying missiles too. Apparently, like the biggest drone attack ever. I wasn't really that big, at least from what I saw. I think most of the drones were like pretty much like shot down before they could even like reach the fucking targets and shit. But still, it's a scary situation, bro. You know, especially because of all the tension that's been going on recently. I mean, World War III. You know, how close are we really to it? You know, it is definitely getting like kind of crazy. Of course, we have Ukraine and Russia. You know, basically Russia and the NATO. You know, the whole like European fucking that whole squad of countries. You know, it's kind of tense between that two. Although I haven't really heard any developments on that recently, but. You know, Russia might just start a fucking war with like whole fucking Europe at this point. All I know is that they're still fighting Ukraine as well, but there's a lot of different wars going on right now, and yeah, it really could just happen overnight, man. I mean, I don't know. There's not been an official World War III yet. Apparently, for there to be a world war, it needs to be a war on every single continent at the same time. So I don't know. I don't know when we'll get there, but it's definitely getting close, though, man. I mean, there's definitely just a lot of fucking stuff going on, and it is kind of dire. Like, seriously, I hope we don't see it develop much further after this. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why people can't just like fucking stop. You know, come on. Anyways, that is pretty wild, though. The whole like Iran stuff. It was pretty tense for a moment. I didn't really know what was gonna happen. But yo, we're good now, though. I think we're good now. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this podcast episode, man. I just want to talk about all this stuff real quick. Pretty fucking wild shit. And hopefully, once again, that World War III thing doesn't escalate any further, man. That would be not good for the world, man. I don't want to wake up one day and have like fucking like on some Oppenheimer shit, like basically wake up and like whole fucking sky's red and shit, like a fucking nuclear bombs. That would not be cool. Anyways, see you next month. You know, first Saturday of the month, as always, is going to be June 1st, apparently. So, yeah. Hey, see you then. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, as always. And see you.